We're going to learn about the muscles and bones of the upper leg. We're going to draw the front view of a right leg. We'll start with the pelvis. Put it over here so the leg will be kind of down the center of the page. So we need that vessel of the pelvis from the front. That iliac crest on the top of the pelvis. The bottom of the pelvis, the ischium, with the pubic arch in the middle. Okay, so the main bone of the upper leg, the only bone of the upper leg, is the femur. So it's a ball and socket joint that connects it to the pelvis. So we're going to place that ball and socket. Now, the femur is shaped pretty strangely. Remember we talked about epicondyles, those bumps on the bone. So there is a larger epicondyle towards the middle of the knee, a smaller one on the outer portion, and then there is a large bump here. I'm kind of exaggerating. This large bump is called the great trochanter. Okay. Now, your knees are closer together than your hips. So that's why we have that slant in there, right? Okay, so this is the femur, that ball and socket joint connecting to the pelvis, the great trochanter, and there's actually a lesser trochanter here, a smaller bump. And then you have these two epicondyles on the bottom. Now your patella is your knee bone floating right here, right? Okay. Your patella. And even though we're not going to talk about the bottom leg muscles, I will include the tops of the bones, so you have kind of a triangular bone, the tibia, and on the outer part of your leg you have the fibula. That's the fibular head. That is a really important little knuckle of bone that catches the light on the figure. Okay, so the fibular head, the head of the fibula, it's important. These are all the bones. Now I'm going to switch to red so we can place the muscles on top. Now before we draw any of the muscles, I want you to think about what you learned about the arm, okay? So when it comes to the upper arm, we have biceps in the front, triceps in the back, okay? Think about the human figure. Our elbows go this way, our knees go this way, right? There's kind of this twisted strangeness to the way the body moves the arms and the legs in opposite ways, right? So there are going to be forms that resemble the triceps of the back of the arm on the front of the leg. And there's going to be forms that resemble the biceps of the front of the arm on the back of the leg, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so the first muscle we're going to learn about is the longest muscle in the body. It's called the Sartorius. So your Sartorius originates at your iliac crest, and it actually doesn't touch the femur at all. It's connected to the inner part of the tibia. Okay, so the Sartorius gets its name from the Latin word for tailor, so sartor. it is the tailor's muscle, because tailors used to be known for sitting cross-legged. This is a beautiful, almost barber pole wrapping kind of muscle that you need to look for in the legs. It's really important in gesture. I think this line is one of the most poetic, beautiful gestural lines in the human figure. Okay, you need that kind of barber poling to capture the upper legs. Okay, this is the Sartorius. Now, the muscles that are going to kind of resemble the triceps of the upper arm are your quadriceps of the upper leg. So quadricep, four-headed muscle. Even though it's a four-headed muscle, we can only really see three from a superficial view, from just the surface. Okay, the fourth one is hidden. So your quadriceps, the first one we'll talk about, is going to be connected to your iliac crest as well. And very similar to those triceps, kind of hooks onto the bone. That's one quadricep. Two quadriceps. Three quadriceps, and the fourth one is underneath that first one. So very similar to the triceps of the arm. Okay, 1, 2, 3, that's all you need to worry about. Quadriceps, even though you can only see 3. Now, there is a muscle that looks pretty similar to the Sartorius. It's like a ribbon-like muscle. It's called the gracilis. It will be more visible from the back view. Think about the gracilis as the inner seam of your jeans. Okay. In between the gracilis and all of this quad, there are adductor muscles. Adductor muscles are deeper muscles that are actually underneath the quadriceps, but we can only see a little bit of them here. And they're just coming in, connecting to the pelvis. These are your adductors. Okay. So we have this great trochanter sticking out, right? That would be pretty painful, so we need some padding there. The muscle that covers the great trochanter will be a lot more visible from the side view. It is called the tensor fascia latae. Okay. This muscle transitions into fascia. So, okay, we have this pad, right? Our tensor fascia latae, but then it kind of becomes, I'll use black, it becomes fascia, right? So this is muscle, 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 and then fascia. Tensor fascia latae, and then it becomes your IT band, right? You've heard about people pulling their IT band. Their iliotibial band, right? So your iliac crest, and it actually goes in and doesn't connect to the fibula, connects to the tibia. So your iliotibial band, connecting the iliac crest to the tibia. Now the only other thing we need to talk about for the muscles of the front of the leg, you have nervous, or tendinous material, excuse me. So picture this tendon as like a tube sock that you've cut a hole into, and the hole perfectly allows the patella to pop out, right? So it's this stocking that kind of covers your knee, connecting the quadriceps. Okay, so looks complicated, but it's not. It's very similar to what you already know about the arm. These are the muscles and bones for the upper leg.